Oh man. Okay, because we got to work on it. It's Thursday night, and this is a shocker. Impact Wrestling Review Show on Popular Review, the very first edition. And we're gonna catch you guys after the intro. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Unpopular Review, the very first episode of Impact Wrestling Review Show. I am the Grand Poobah, and I'm joined with the executive consultant. Executive, it was just a few hours ago that we did a, let's do a cheap plug, top 5 superstars of 2002, and we came together, and this was your idea. You said, hey, Impact is kind of hot. Impact got some stuff going on there. Why don't we do a review show on it? And I said, you're onto something, boss. Let's do it. So you're gonna get the bad executives for the second time in one day. That is a treat, and you guys should be very thankful for that. Executive, I know you're coming from another show, but how are you?
I'm tired, man. Y'all wore me out today with Unpopular Review. 3 episodes today, over the course of 3 different hour frames, really. So it's really exhausting. But I'm excited to talk some Impact Wrestling, and hopefully we'll stay consistent with this one because I think and over to the last set of tapings that I had a very good time. It's the second time this year I went to Impact tapings. I went to one they had here in Florida earlier this year. Now that one, but that was just because of my own mindset and my own prejudice against it. Today I gave it open mind because I went out of town to see it, and I had a good time. They have a lot of stars and a lot of talent there, and I don't think they get shouted out enough and enough focus on them. So I wanted to see what we can do to talk about it. And thank you so much for not watching this.
Yeah. We're gonna build some steam here on Thursdays. We're gonna make it a thing. They're just not accustomed to us having a wrestling show on a Thursday and at after 10 at that. They're usually prepared for us to do like now y'all got the wrestling podcast. Y'all go on during Raw. Everyone knows to tune into the party that is NXT on Tuesdays, and on Wednesday it is nothing but Dynamite. So we just have to get the audience acclimated to tuning in and joining us on Thursdays for Impact. I was able to watch Impact when we were doing the top 5. It was I was both watching and on air, so it was kind of you're trying to you're trying to do both at the same time. So I was able to catch the beginning. But you said you had a good time, and that was something I did want to ask you. What was the atmosphere like when you was there? Did it feel like, I don't know if you went to old TNA shows or Impact shows, however you want to word it, but it was a different atmosphere 10, 12, 15 years ago, I would even say. And the atmosphere was just different. Did it give you that same kind of vibe, or?
Not at all. Not at all. And I hate to say it like that as we try to get Impact going or rolling again to get to that level. But
Sure.
I remember the first time I actually traveled, because most people know, if you don't know, I'm from Washington, D.C. That's where I was born and raised. But not in Philadelphia. But when I was in D.C. and I decided to take my actual first vacation, it was down here to Orlando, Florida. And that weekend, it happened to coincide with the Impact or TNA at the time's taping. And we said, hey, it's free, because it was free. Let's go and just watch it, because I was a little familiar with TNA. Didn't watch it religiously back then, but I still did watch it. So I went, and I had a great time. I had a fun time, so much that my Orlando trips started turning into annual trips around my birthday. And I always made sure, though, that it coincided with whatever taping it was. And it was just a great time, and my friends definitely enjoyed it. Even the ones that did not watch wrestling, because and what's going on, Jeff? It was in Universal Studios, so we just enjoyed it. But when you asked me my experience when I went to Atlanta, I didn't have that same experience. I didn't have the same fun. But here's the reason why. I sit here and I said in the chat, I said they have some stars there. They have Magnus. I can't remember his name. Aldis, Nick Aldis.
Yes.
They have Moose.
Yes.
Tommy Dreamer is still around. Granted,
Bully Ray.
Where Bully Ray is there. Mickey James. Well, she wasn't there that time. PCO. They have talent there.
I was going to ask about
and
him.
I'm ignoring Trinity for a purpose, so I'll mention more about her later. but they have talent. But back in the
They do.
they had Kurt Angle and Sting and Rob Van Dam, Jeff Hardy. So
That, yeah,
but
that was such an error.
you
Yeah.
know, and I put this up as just a joke, but I'll put it back up in the room because I mentioned them I think earlier, but they're one of my favorite factions. They had this at
The
the
main
time,
event mafia.
you know, and that's one of my favorite factions. Definitely top five. But that's not taking away from the fact that this was a very good show. It was a very entertaining time. Deonna Purrazzo can go
Yes.
as well. It was a 2-night event. That's how Impact Wrestling does their tapings. They do a month's worth of tapings in 2 nights. It's not necessarily in order, so I have to watch just to see where we're at this time because I will tell you that some people were not on Friday, some people were not on Saturday. Trinity was not on Friday; she was all on Saturday. And of course, they shoot the cameras very well, so you don't notice. But if you do show up at the actual tapings, you'll see on Friday it wasn't as many people. They had a good crowd there, but it wasn't as many people. On Saturday, that place was packed. And that place was loud for Trinity. You knew they were there for Trinity,
Yep.
for Naomi, and you know my friend, shout out to Nico Extra, and I because that's who I was with, and we said it. You know, it almost is a disservice to Impact Wrestling because Trinity's actually a little too big for that company. That place went crazy when she came out, but I'm glad to see her there. She seemed happy. She seemed rejuvenated. Impact definitely rolling. Shout out to them. I encourage you, if you have not watched Impact Wrestling or you don't watch Impact Wrestling, give it a tune because they're doing some amazing things over there.
We say give it a tune because we're going to be here on Thursdays reviewing it, so definitely so you can join the conversation. And I did want to piggyback a little bit on that. Impact really hit gold when they were able to get Trinity because you're absolutely right. She is a star. She, you know, it's not even just the WWE stuff. I mean, when she was on what was that show, Total Divas and stuff like that. I mean, she was. I mean, just
She was
when
one
you
of the stars. Mhm.
and when you just and when you just think about them being able to get someone like, I mean, Impact has always found a way to bring some big names, and it's amazing because no disrespect to Impact, but it's a small pond. And when you think about all the names, because you did mention Trinity, but I'll go back even further. When I think about, there was a time where you had Hogan, Jeff Hardy, Ric Flair. I might have said RVD already. Forgive me. I'm just saying these names that are just gigantic, and they were able to grab them, and it's amazing. And Trinity is on that list of names, is what I'm trying to get at. The only people they couldn't get, it was because they couldn't match. They couldn't match. I think it was some with money. I know it was some with money because Brock. It sounded like oh man, there was this thing sometime back, and it was like Impact was like Kurt Angle said something about getting Brock. Getting Brock, and I'm just saying that would have been a game changer if they were able to get Brock.
Back in the day when TNA was able to pay people like Kurt Angle and Sting, they had a little bit more money than they do now.
But I think that was also the network as well.
Exactly.
I don't think that was solely.
Spike TV was so upset that WWE took their tail and went back to USA that they started paying for some of their wrestlers to come over to TNA. They footed Kurt Angle's bill, which is why Kurt Angle was making as much money at TNA as he was in WWE.
Yeah.
They were footing Sting's bill.
Yeah.
So that freed up a lot of money for Dixie Carter to pay other people that weren't as big as Sting and Kurt Angle, but still were people that were name worthy. They don't have that kind of pockets now, but they still do pretty well for themselves. As far as being able to pay for some wrestlers that they have now, and they have some names.
They do.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, no, and also too. I mean, because you was mentioning that they don't have the same pockets, but I'll say this, and then we'll just jump into the show. Impact. It's amazing to realize. It's amazing because a lot of people have always thought Impact was going to die at, I don't know when. They're like, oh, it's not going to last. It's not going to last. But 21 years, they did a little engine that could.
It's amazing the fact that they've been able to stick around, and they definitely were on the brink of bankruptcy quite a few times.
Yep.
To the point where Dixie Carter, who was owner of it for a while, had to sell. And like I said, everybody thought Impact was going to die, but they're still around to this day. And they are the second one of the, I think they're like the second largest, no, not longest, the longest company. I mean, they've been around pretty much twice as long as WCW at this point.
That's crazy to me. Like when you hear that out loud and say that, that's wild to me, but it's a fact. It's a fact. We got Jeffrey in the chat. He says Abyss was my favorite big man. Abyss was great. he was
WWE. Well, Jeremy Borash went over to WWE. He took a lot of those guys that he used to work with down in TNA with him. Abyss is definitely one of them. But Impact Wrestling seen a lot of people come and go, but right now is the time where I feel like they are building momentum. I felt like they got a bad deal. Every time they build momentum, in my opinion, they somehow get a bad deal. Most recently, I felt like the formation of AEW
Yeah,
hurt them because they
yeah,
lost a lot
that
of the
hurt them.
wrestlers they had. And
That hurt
then when
them.
they went into the partnership with AEW, it was actually supposed to help promote them. And I feel like it hurt them a little bit also. I feel like AEW just pretty much cracked them and said, hey, we're the bigger
It
guy.
did. No, but they absolutely did. It was pretty much Impact realized like if I join this the second biggest wrestling company, this is going to give us some momentum. It's going to put eyes on it. But it made their stars look. I- Look, I mean, Kenny Omega beating who'd he beat? He beat Rick
Which
Swan
one?
and Moose. No one thought that the Impact guys, and this is no disrespect to them because I think these are great talents, but no one expected them to beat Kenny Omega. It did kind of make Impact look like a second-rate company. So I
Yeah.
agree to that.
And that was the first time I saw Moose in person, man. My God, that's a big ass
Mhm.
dude, man. That
Yeah.
is a big dude. And he has, in my opinion, one of the most impressive entrances in wrestling.
I used to like when he had the ROH and it was go moose, moose, and it's kind of still the same, but it's like the rhythm is different.
Moose.
Jeffrey said,
Moose.
do y'all know why they have big arenas no more like they used to? I mean, TNA's not a big company, so I can't see them doing the big arenas like they used to.
Correct. They
You
can't.
know, they
Like I
can't do
said,
it.
they didn't really even sell out
No.
the center stage that they were on. Did a good job selling tickets, filling up the
Hmm.
location, but it's not a big location. Like I said, it's
Hmm.
just center stage, not a arena. It's not even a high school arena. It was just a theater, so to speak. Production was pretty good,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's not for them yet, and I'm
No.
not sure honestly at this point in time. I think wrestling's in the middle of a boom. From what we can see, I just don't. I don't know if they'll ever get back to it. I think right now what they do is pretty good, and they've been doing it well. I mean, look at Drew McIntyre. Left WCW, I'm not WCW. Left WWE,
He
went to
did.
a lot of different wrestling organizations, including, and I think Impact Wrestling was the one that kind of built him back to the point where he is right now. Same thing with Bobby Lashley.
Yes.
He never really lost it.
Yes.
But Bobby
I
Lashley,
love
if
I
you
know we're doing a nostalgia run with Impact, and I think that's cool because it's the first episode. But when you talk about, I was never a big Bobby Lashley fan, but his run in Impact kind of made me go like, this dude is someone. As a matter of fact, the nickname that he had, I always laugh at it. They called him the Walking Apocalypse. I said, that is just phenomenal. And that time when he had all the Impact belts, he had like every belt, and I think MVP was managing him at the same time, which was
it
a
was
great pairing, by the
goes back to
way.
the hurt business. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that was pre-hurt business.
And
Yes.
you know
So
who else came from Impact Wrestling? One of the hottest wrestlers right now on WWE on SmackDown, and that is Eli Drake, better known now as L.A. Knight. And actually, ironically, now that I'm doing this, I actually prefer L.A. Knight. Eli Drake, I feel like is a better name, but when he does this thing, L.A. Knight rolls off the tongue a little bit better. L.A. Knight. Um, so, I mean, like I said, pay attention to Impact. They're
yes,
really, really good company. But let's go ahead and talk about Impact episode 14.
yes. Let's get this going. We had the opening match. It was Zachary Wentz. I hope I'm saying his name correct. He went against Chris.
WMTZ.
He went against Chris Bay. The opening match was pretty solid. It was decent. I was in between doing top five and watching, so I didn't get to see every little thing. But you knew that these guys were going to go out there and deliver. Zach is really good at what he does, and Chris Bay. I mean, the guy's a star. I think he's a star. I think he has a presence to him. But just to sum it up all real quick, Zach wins by distraction. His partner Trey distracts Chris. Yes, and Chris Bay. Because I want to make sure it's not you that was in the ring. I mean, I don't think so. But Bay is distracted. He drop kicks Trey. Zach gets the pin. So it looks like that they're trying to set up for something with um, ABC, or I mean, they're still the Bullet Club, right? I mean, I just don't know anymore. I just feel like
Yeah, there's a lot of Bullet Clubs, different variations, and like every company but WWE. And
everywhere.
And to a certain extent, they have a variation of WWE. If you count the
Yeah, no, it is.
club,
Yeah, it is.
OC, what we call the original club. But
Yeah.
so when I talk about talent,
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to be biased because I've known about the guy before you joined Impact Wrestling, but Chris Bay, I think, is one of the most underrated, under talked, for lack of a better phrase, under talked about, if you know what I mean, wrestlers in the wrestling world. That man is really, really talented. Him
Yeah.
is actually his tag team partner is actually really, really good. But Chris Bay, there's something I feel like a little bit more special about him. And when he goes in that ring, he's very smooth. He's almost, and I compared him even when I was in Atlanta a couple weeks ago.
Sure.
I kind of compare him to Adam Cole. I think he's that good.
Wow.
I think if Adam Cole had his physique,
Mhm.
Adam Cole would have had this issue. Now, one of the things I have a problem with in AEW, and I didn't mention this last night, is I noticed for a couple weeks now they're making Adam Cole seem like he's this fit person. And I'm not saying he's in bad shape. We know Adam Cole's not in bad shape, but
No.
Chris Bay is a stud. And
You can tell he goes to the gym.
Yeah, you can tell he goes to the gym. You can tell he eats lettuce. When he comes out there, he is definitely taking care of business, and I have not seen him have a bad match. I like them as tag team champions, even though I think they're going to take the loss on Sunday.
We're going to do predictions towards the end of the show. We're going to talk about Slammiversary because, I mean, we had no idea that these pay-per-views were, like, all right here. So we're just making it. The executives even say, like, God darn it. But, yeah, I thought this match was solid. And I've seen very few of Chris Bay, but some of the stuff that I've ever seen from him, solid in the ring. Solid in the ring.
Very
Yeah, very.
Both
We
of them.
have, absolutely. We also have Kevin Knight. He goes against Mike Bailey. I've seen some of Mike Bailey's stuff. I mean, this guy he beats people up. He kicks. He flips. He's speedball. So
Speedball.
you know.
He was at the last talk show I was at, and when I was in New York last month.
Oh, he was at one. He was at the Hog Show, right?
He was.
Oh, okay. There you go. Well, it's funny. You was watching him because he's fast. I was watching Flash because he's fast. So we both saw fast people. But Kevin Knight, I'm not familiar with his work, but I remember even briefly before we got off when we did the top five, he was like, his work is pretty solid. You're kind of familiar with this guy, right?
Yeah, he and actually Speedball, but I don't think they had a match against each other. But when I was at the Impact tapings at Kissimmee, I wasn't as familiar with a lot of the talent, like I said. So I looked down, I was like, who's this guy? I wasn't really interested, so I didn't give him a chance. But I did notice he was very athletic. Mm-hmm. And one thing that I want to highlight is these two actually tore the house down. Those fans were really into this match because two wrestlers are very athletic and very can go very well. I'm not the biggest Speedball fan, but I see why people like him. And he can put on a match, and he definitely did with Kevin tonight. Jeff said Chris Bay is a great athlete, and so is this guy. I mean, his hops are amazing. They put on a show. Mike Bailey has no good attitude. That guy can go. He can, and these two definitely laid it all out in the ring. They went out there and proved what they can do. And like I said, those fans loved every minute of that match.
I can only imagine. I mean, so the crowd was pretty much that was the match. Would you say? Because I'm assuming this was all the one taping, right? Was that the match of the night?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
I think so. Was that the match that everybody was most excited for? No, because like I said, people wanted to see Trinity, and they were happy to see Trinity.
Right.
That Saturday taping was also the taping the night that Trinity wrestled. I forget the guy's name.
I know who you're talking about. I don't know his name though. I know he's part of
Giselle Shaw.
Okay, that's
and they had a pretty decent match. I'm not saying that was the match of the night, but they passed out glow sticks when Trinity was coming out, and like I said, the roof almost came off that place. That place was very, very loud.
Just to talk about because last year was my first WrestleMania, and I thought that was so cool because you mentioned the glow sticks, and I remember them just before Sasha and Naomi came out. Yeah. They handed those, and just the visual of the glow sticks, because it would be dark, and I don't know, it's just a really cool visual. I just
wanted to throw the same thing in the Impact. They handed them on, they were like, oh, Trinity's coming out. So
it's a giveaway, right? There's something about that you're like, yeah, this is Trinity. It's not Sting.
She is your selling point. She is your selling point by far.
She is. She is. And I think they know that. That's why, when we do predictions, I'll save it for my predictions. But we had a promo between Misha and Killer Kelly. They're going to be going against the Coven for the Impact Women Tag Team titles. Did you see that they had a dog collar match? Did you see any? Did you see that, or did you no? No, me either. But I mean, that was the match that apparently brought these women together, and now these women are now a tag team to go against the Coven, and that should be an interesting match. There's something about this pairing for me, and hi Charmaine, we see you in the chat, but there's something about this pairing that I really really like. So I can't wait to see what this match look like. When they have it at Slammiversary. We have Joe
Coven is a
Hendry.
very good team. Coven's a good team.
I believe it. I used to like oh, I'm blanking on her name. The blonde. I'm sorry, I can't think of her name.
I can't remember her name right now.
Yeah, but because she was a part of her first run was like years back, and then she retired, then came back, which is great.
And she
Um,
hit her stride, I think.
we got the women's division has always been the best out of all the women the wrestling league. Misha Slamberers and Killer Kelly just look like they fit as a team. I absolutely agree with you, Jeffrey. I'm sorry, George. It's too many G's, but I totally agree with you. It's something where the pairing just works. Like it doesn't feel forced. It's like, yeah, I can see these two being a team. But we have this. We have Joe Hendry and Yuta. I hope I'm saying this. I didn't get the chance to write the last name. They go against Kenny King and Shelton Jean.
Not either.
And thank you.
That's
And
funny.
Joe Hendry, did you? I gotta ask you, because I know he has his theme and something. Was it
I
Joe Hen-
believe in Joe Hendry.
Joe Hendry?
I believe in Joe Hendry.
It's so fantastic. I know very little of him, but I know enough to be like. Matter of fact, he gave his partner the same thing where his partner did the thing where it's like, I believe in Utah, and then Shelton, I'm sorry, Kenny King last week was like, you have that too? I thought that was so great. I thought that was tremendous. But these guys have a match. It just seemed like pretty much it was more to further the storyline between Joe and Kenny King. Kenny King, the storyline is there was a video that was playing and he got caught stripping or something like that. He's a stripper.
Yeah,
And
so apparently the storyline is, and I
Yeah.
believe it's accurate, is that he left wrestling in 2013, and to make money, he became a stripper before he came back to his wrestling again. He just finally admitted it a little while ago on Renee Young's podcast, and because
Oh,
Joe Henry was very good. Because when I went to the Impact tapings in Florida back in
Sure.
January, Joe Henry, the first time I saw him, man, I remember he came out, and my friend I went with, shout out to Daniel, he stood up and he was all waving and stuff like that. He was at Mark and I'm rolling my eyes. You know how I hate sometimes. I'm like, look at this guy doing. This guy's freaking and I don't know what he's doing. But he made a song then too, but it was about Kurt Hawkins. Forgive me, Kurt, because I know Brian Myers. Because somebody called him that, Kurt Hawkins a few times in the match. He said, I don't know that name. So Brian, he made a song about Brian Myers. No, not Brian Myers. It was Zack Ryder. It was
oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his name now. Matt Condona.
Matt Cardona. It was Matt
Cardona.
Cardona, and he said, "You have been nothing more than just bitch." It was just amazing,
Mhm.
and it was funny. And then so
I remember that. Yeah.
when he does stripper Kenny here, the crowd love it. The crowd absolutely love it, and Joe Henry does well. And I'm not saying this to disrespect Impact Wrestling, but I definitely see Joe Henry being a part of NXT very soon. I see him. I
Ooh.
see his gimmick, I see what he does. I see his
Mhm.
charisma.
Yeah.
I see him in NXT. I see him in NXT and later on the main roster. I feel like the man can definitely make it there, and it's going to happen.
I think he would be a great. I from the very little that I've seen of him, and I haven't seen a lot of his in-ring work, but character-wise, he's nailed it, man. Like he gets it, and the fact that he's able to get captivate the crowd because, as you mentioned, all that the crowd is behind him. So yeah, no, I could. I didn't think much of that, but when you said, it, I'm like, yeah, that would be a good fit. NXT.
Yeah, I can see
That'll
him in NXT. And there's a few people that I see that happen too, and Joe Henry, I think, is at the top of my list.
And I think Joe Hendry, though, I mean, he's at Impact because he's trying to get eyes. I think Impact knows, right? I just feel like this. Impact knows. Yes, absolutely. But same thing with ROH. Like ROH knew, like if WWE, and I'm going years back, right? WWE's approaching someone like CM Punk, Samoa Joe. I mean, I don't know everybody in ROH, but my point is WWE's approaching them. These guys are gonna go like, yeah, I'm gonna go. Like I love this place, and I appreciate the opportunity, but I'm going to go to WWE. So yeah, Joe Hendry, yes. Jeffrey in the chat, he says he has charisma. Absolutely, that's something I'm learning off him, that he just has charisma and people He gets people behind him, and to me, I feel like he not to say he does the bare minimum, but it's like he does something. I'm like that works. So it's I mean wonderful, but he gets the win. Kenny King. Just real quick to just mention when he was wrestling out there, he had a hoodie on because the whole stripper thing. And when Joe took it off and Kenny sold the hell out of it, dude. Like when he took it off, it was, and he's out there, he's like this, and he walked and he goes, "Oh hell no!" Shelton eats the pin and he loses.
Deanna Peraza.
We got we had a Leo Rush promo. He talks about having some respect for Chris Sabin. He said he was a fan. Congratulations on his success, not sex. I'm sorry, success. And but he says, I don't give a damn. I'm about building my brand. I came here to make a name for myself. I don't see Leo Rush taking this title off Chris Sabin. My only thing with Leo Rush, right? I think he's such a tremendous talent. My only thing with Leo Rush is, for me, is like, how long does he stay? Because I feel like with Leo Rush, he's here, he'll stay for a bit, and then he goes. And once again, I don't want to take anything away from his talent because his talent is great. I got to see him live at one of the HOG shows this year, and I thought the man was great. But I also sit here and go, he's here. Like wasn't he in AEW last year?
I don't remember it was last year or the year before, but he was in AEW recently. But he does not stick around. No. He leaves. He sees something, pisses him off. He leaves, and he takes some time. Says he's retiring. He comes back. But Leo Rush is a tremendous talent.
Yep.
I cannot say enough about him. I thought he was great in NXT. I liked him on main roster. He was like last year. I really liked that.
I love that.
I thought it was great.
I love that.
And he was in good matches. He did a great job on Impact Wrestling, but I don't see him taking that title from Chris Sabin. I don't see his deal being a long deal, but we'll see how it goes. I just know that on Sunday, these two will put on a great match.
I do want to add, too, just to add to Leo Rush, just to talk about the greatness of Leo Rush. I thought he was a great Cruiserweight champion. I don't think he held that title long, but I was a fan of him.
He lost it to Angel Garza, I believe.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely correct. We got also too. Jeffrey mentioned he was in R. See, I didn't even know that he was in ROH too. He said he believed. We're not sure, but I'm just saying his run. He don't stay long, but good on Impact on grabbing this guy.
He was in ROH for a little bit. I think it was before his WWE.
Okay. So with all that being said, as we continue to talk about Impact, we're going to play a commercial, and after these commercials, we'll be back for more Impact Wrestling on Unpopular View. Commercial.
I did a thing, guys. I'm sorry, I'm laughing.
What did Jack do?
I did it. Look at this. It's improved.
Why did you do that? And what they've been through together, that in real life they went to school together. They'd been friends for a very long time. It's always been Trick and Mello. That he moved Mello out of the way for the spear out of pure instinct because that's his boy at the end of the day. Going to try to beat down Braun Breaker to the best of his abilities. And I believe he can beat Braun Breaker, but I feel like Braun Breaker's going to for the crap out of Trick Williams.
No, it's not. This is Pitbull. I'm sorry. I'm going to give it to Buzzer.
Very good job, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Impact Wrestling Review. Unpopular Reviews, Impact Wrestling Review. What you saw there was a little snippet of NXT every single Tuesday immediately after NXT with Bad Guy Jack and the Wrestling Doll. But we're talking Impact Wrestling right now. I'm the executive consultant over there. To my right is none other than the Bad Guy Jack.
Thanks.
Have you actually been working on your arms?
Yeah, I did a push-up today, and then I got winded, so I stopped.
Yeah, this saw a little bit more definition than usual for you. So
well, absolutely. Well, I'm an artist, so I just drew like a little cut right there, so it makes it yeah.
I believe you. What's the next thing we got going on Impact Wrestling?
We had Moose and Brian Myers, the most professional wrestler, by the way, Brian Myers, and they went against Rich Swann and Sami Callihan. This match seems pretty chaotic to me. Just because Sammy. Let me ask you real quick. How do you feel about? I know I singled him out, but how do you feel about Sami Callihan?
Actually, I'm a big fan. I've always been a fan of Sami Callihan. I don't know why. but I always have been. I like his character, I like his work. I'm not exactly fond of him as a babyface.
Ah,
But
yeah,
it's
that do
a
feel.
little, yeah, it's a little weird to me.
Yeah.
And I have been watching Impact Wrestling, so the last time I saw him, he was struggling. He was a part of I forgot what you call it.
OVO or something like that.
Or something
OVA.
like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was struggling with himself. So I was like, doesn't seem right for Sami Callihan. He should be a leader. But then I come back and I'm like, he's teaming with Rich. And I didn't even know. Rich never even told me that he was teaming with Sami Callihan. But we don't talk about his work that much. And so
That's
it was
cool.
amazing to see. And I'm like, oh, cool. The tag team worked. Not a fan of him as a heel, but the tag team worked. And they fought as a tag team on Friday, and they fought as a tag team on Saturday. They won the Friday, they lost the Saturday, and I believe tonight's the night that was that Saturday one where they lost. But their team works, and they're so opposite. It's amazing. But when Rich gets involved in something, he puts all of it in. So I think he's actually helping Sami Callihan.
I didn't even get to, because I think I moved around for this period, so I didn't get to see who. Oh, that matter of fact, Moose and Brian Myers won this match. I'm trying to figure out because I think they're in some kind of tag team like turmoil thing. I gotta look at the thing. I'm sorry.
I think it's like a fatal four-way tag team tournament or something for the championship.
Good job. And there was a bunch of other like promos. We had Subculture, who is a part of this the Fatal Four. Are they part of it? I gotta make sure. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Are they?
And
They are?
I
Okay.
remember that because I was so confused because I don't believe I saw them at the tapings. So I
Right.
guess they were booked or they couldn't make it, but they're in this match.
Yeah, so they had like a segment and they were talking, and that's when my TV started acting up. I don't know what is going on with Access. So Access, get your stuff together, please, because I want to review Impact, but I can't do it when you freeze the TV. Him and Simon Cowell worked together as a team despite their past. Yep. I cut my what? And put them in a suit.
Hope you enjoy it.
And after that, we really, I mean, just to jump into it, I mean, this is not going to be a super long show, but we get into the main event. Once again, my TV was frozen for this, but you have Deonna Purrazzo going against Judy Threat. I missed a great portion of it because my TV was frozen, but I know that Deonna Purrazzo is going to, I'm not familiar with Judy Threat. I've seen a few matches. I've seen one match with her. But Deonna was going to go over. She was, she's going to be defending her championship. Deonna Purrazzo brought back the Open Challenge. She brought that back. That was something she was doing previously, and now she's bringing it back. And these girls had a pretty good, solid match. I mean, there's nothing I could say like, oh, this match was terrible, this match was bad. It was a solid match. It was a solid showing. What I did like is that as many times as Deonna Purrazzo put the armbar on Judy, there was times that she would put it on and Judy either counter it or she would grab the ropes. But the last time that she did it, I feel like this put Judy over big time as well when Deonna hit the armbar on her, and instead of grabbing one arm, she hit both, and that made Judy tap. I mean, you was in the building when this match happened, so please talk about the atmosphere.
I will be honest with you. The atmosphere for this was probably one of the worst of the night. I don't think they were really into this match. They're happy to see Deonna. Deonna's very light, but I think they were kind of one because it was Open Challenge, and I feel like was it Judy Threat or something like that. I don't think
Judy Threat.
I don't think she was who they were looking for, so to speak. I felt like they expected a bigger name. I don't know, but this was the last televised match of the night. Tommy Dreamer had a dark match because he said he had wrestled there over 20-something years, but it was deflated. But the ending part of it was good. And one of the things I want to talk about when it comes to this ending part is, I think your main event for Slammiversary is actually the Knockouts Championship match.
It is.
They said it. Yeah, I felt like that. And you have to understand why. Because once again, their selling point is Naomi. That is your selling point. And there's no disrespect to Nick Aldis, and there's no disrespect to
Alex Shelley.
Alex Shelley. No disrespect to whatsoever.
No, but I think they're smart enough to know that if we really want to sell this, you want to put Trinity in the main event. I think they're just so aware of that. Matter of fact, if I can use as an example, as you say all that, I think about it's the WrestleMania that you went to. And CM Punk and Chris Jericho didn't main event that WrestleMania. It should have, right? Maybe it should have. Say if it's so. But what main event? It was Rock and Cena. Why?
because Rock
'Cause-
Cena.
Absolutely.
Rock and Cena was going to be. You put Rock and Cena on the card, that main event over any other match you could possibly think of, any other combination you could possibly think of.
I'll even
That's a cell match on there.
I'll even go as far. We did a top 5 of 2002. The main event for WrestleMania 18 should have been Rock and Hogan.
And we talked about it. You know,
Yeah,
just
we talked
Triple
about
H and Chris Jericho. Something Chris Jericho to this day said, I don't even know why we did that. We should have.
yeah.
It
No,
was
that
what
was,
it was, but you know, all those women come out. Now, granted, the knockouts division, somebody said earlier, the
yes.
knockouts division is always been a talking point. I think if the knockouts division was as popular as it was back in the day, the WWE Women's Revolution never would have happened. That's just my personal opinion. I feel like it was a I see what you're doing. We can do it. We can make it better. I feel like that's
Right.
what WWE did, and of course they successfully haven't done that. But I don't think the knockout division right now is as good as it could be. I think they do have a lot of talent, but I think they're kind of all over the place. And please understand what I mean by that. That's not just about to any of these ladies. I think they all do pretty well what they do.
Yeah.
And their top female heel is Giselle Shaw. Controversial to say the least, but it's Giselle Shaw, and I'm going to be even more controversial. Just like I said with Joe Hendry, I can see Giselle Shaw in WWE.
Oh, okay.
I can see it. She is talented, and you know we're going to get the controversy aside because you know the elephant in the room. Of course, you know she was not born a woman, but she is a woman now. But I feel like she does a good job in that division. As opposed, and once again, not disrespecting this person, but you know, Nyla Rose, I just see a difference. Giselle Shaw, I feel like can go and goes very well in the women's division, and I like her little manager too. I like her click. I feel like she has a presence, and I feel like she could go to WWE.
And that's a possibility. I'm pretty sure that's the goal that she's trying to do. You know, hey, I'm on Impact. I'm trying to get eyes. I'm trying to get my reps in and stuff, and have people pay attention. So that's a possibility. After the match, Deanna, she tries to raise Judy's hand. As you mentioned, I always mess her name up. I was gonna say Shaw, but what's her name? It's
Giselle
Giselle.
Shaw.
When I hear that name enough, it's gonna click in my brain. It's just gonna take some time. But Giselle, her and her crew comes out. They beat up Deanna. Judy Threat is just kicked out immediately. The Death Dolls come out as well. There's just pandemonium going on in the ring. I mean, there's a lot of just people getting their ass kicked, and a lot of the knockouts are kicking each other's ass. So, like I said, the Death Dolls are out there. But then the Coven comes out and attack them, to which that's when Killer Kelly and Misha comes out and they attack the Coven. There's a lot of bodies flying around here. A lot of people just getting ass kicked.
It's a very good end segment to have Trinity come out and
then Trinity comes out. Yes, they knew what they were doing, saving out to come out for last. They said Jeffrey said that she could talk. She has the down pack.
Mm-hmm. She knows how to draw heat. She knows how to be a villain.
You know, I do want to ask this. You know, Jeffrey mentioned Jordynne Grace. Do you see her going to WWE?
No. Jordynne Grace is a talent, but I don't see where she has WWE. What makes WWE is they know how to make characters, and they know how to make characters work, right? Because that's what makes somebody stop a channel and say, "Oh, who's this person?"
Yeah.
I don't think Jordynne Grace, even though you might stop the channel to see her because she has an impressive physique, I don't know if she has the charisma enough to really captivate the audience, and that's where I don't see her going to do that. I can see her being what she is now, if I remember correctly, but no.
I can see why you say AEW, but do you think that she is somebody? Because I feel like there's a lot of talent that WWE have brought into, you know, their company, and they've been able to find a way to, as you mentioned, they were not the most captivating person.
Viking
someone
Raiders.
with the charisma. Who you got?
Viking Raiders.
Viking Raiders.
Giselle Shaw should be Valhalla.
Who?
I'm not Giselle Shaw.
Oh, you meant Grace. Okay, you meant
Grace.
Grace.
Should be Valhalla.
Well, with that said, that was pretty much Impact. The only last piece that I got here from Impact is that PCO, who was supposed to be the original partner for, let me make sure I got his name, Scott D'Amore, but PCO looked like they say this thing with Impact, they just kill people. That's what I get out of them. They just kill people. Lucha Underground-esque kind of way, right? And Scott D'Amore says, "Hey, I don't know if we can bring back PCO back to life, but can we bring you back to life?" Who the hell is he talking about? Like, I don't know who else that was killed on Impact.
I don't know, but we're gonna find out. But PCO had a hell of a match. Man, as old as he is,
PCO is impressive. Like, I don't even know if I'm a
scares
super
me.
fan. He scares you. PCO is just an interesting figure because, like you mentioned, he's an older guy, and then he's doing these reckless things. It's not even just the moonsaults and stuff. The swanton bomb on the apron. I'm like, bro, you're like 50-something. You should chill. But this guy does it. He's legitimately, when they call him the Wrestling Frankenstein, I see it. But why don't we get into these? Why don't we get into these predictions real quick, and then we'll just end the show here, guys. You're watching Unpopular Review, the Impact Review Show. This is episode 1. We hope to be here more on Thursdays, you guys.
We're gonna try.
We're gonna make it. We're gonna try to make it a thing, and we hope that you guys.
We get to predictions.
Yes.
I thought you wanted one last week.
One more commercial.
One more commercial, then we go straight to predictions, and then we're gonna end for the night.
Let's do it. One more
Stay
commercial.
with us. Predictions coming up. You're watching Unpopular Review.
Previously on the Mike Knox Show.
We're going to talk about, is the NWO the greatest faction in wrestling history? Now, we talk all the time about how the Bloodline is the greatest storyline in wrestling history. But where does the NWO fit as far as factions are concerned? 27 years, I'm going to take you down a little miniature pathway of their destruction, if you will, so to speak, through WCW, and find out where they rank at. Also, it's been 35 years since Shawn Michaels, if you will, Daddy, debut. I want to give you, which we're going to rehash a little bit, my top 5 Shawn Michael matches of all time. Also, do ratings still matter? They come out with ratings every week. The Facebook groups we're all a part of all complain and bitch, ratings don't matter. Yes, they do. That's all that matters. They don't. We got DVR now and streaming. What, ratings don't matter, but ratings do matter. They post them every week for a reason. I don't know what's worse, the CM Punk chants or when you're constantly singing Seth Rollins. I don't know which one's worse. I can't. Jesus Christ. Okay. Just hijack the whole damn show, why don't you?
Mike Knox Show every single Monday at 6 o'clock p.m. Talking some Impact Wrestling right now. Unpopular Review.
Wait a minute. I know we're about to end this show, but why does he get a woman to introduce this thing previously on the Mike Knox Show? Why is that not happening for NXT? There's a problem there. Where am I in the bracket of people? How's his budget better than mine?
Your fault because y'all have a woman on the show. It's you and wrestling.
Yeah, but even still, why don't we have the same woman announcer? Why am I not in the budget as well? What is happening here?
They take it up with the financial officer.
Yeah, I'm looking at you. Anyway, let's get ready to do. Let's get these predictions because right now I'm very upset. I like hearing that previously. How does he get that?
He also does his own videos.
I don't know what you're trying to get at. I'm sorry. I don't know what you're trying to get at.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
No, well, you're not.
Production is tired.
You know, so was Walt Disney, and he made magic. So we're going to get into these predictions. Let's talk about, we have a singles match for the Impact Digital Media Championship. We have Joe Hendry against Kenny King. He's going to be out there with Shelton Jean. Who do you got, executive consultant?
Joe Hendry.
Yeah, I can agree to that. I don't think he. You know what?
Joe Hendry.
I don't know. It's like, yeah, but I'm going to go with Kenny King. I'm going to go with Kenny King because you know what? I can see him getting his one-ups on Joe Hendry. I'm going to go with Kenny King.
Okay.
We got Jody Threat and the Deaf Dolls going against the Shah Taraj. The Shah Taraj.
Death Dolls.
Who you got?
Death Dolls.
I'm gonna go with the Shah Taraj.
Hmm.
I'm gonna go with that. We got Jeffrey, who's in the chat. Jeffrey, by the way, who's a Jack Packer. He said Mike Knox is special treatment. You see this nonsense? But he says Joe Hendry, so he agrees with you. So apparently he has betrayed me, like everyone else in my life that I've ever cared about. We have Jonathan Gresham. I'm sorry. We have an Ultimate X match to determine the number one contender for the Impact Division Championship. We have Jonathan Gresham, Mike Bailey, Kevin Knight, Angels, who had I didn't talk about his promo. He had a promo out there too. And Kushida. And that probably makes sense because Kevin Knight, when I saw him, I said, those look like Kushida's glasses. But who do you got to win this X Division match?
Gresham.
The Gresham, I agree. I agree with Gresham. I like Gresham. What do you think about Gresham?
Gresham, I mean, we all know what I'm going to say, but Gresham, I think, is a tremendous talent, and I see why he's a former Ring of Honor World Champion, but he's too short. I'm sorry.
I knew that. As soon as you said, you know what I'm going to say, I said, yeah.
He's too short.
Not everyone can be like 8 feet tall like you know.
Wrestlers have to be presence. Have to have a presence. That's my opinion of it. One of my most famous stories is CM Punk having problems at an airport because he said he was a world champion and nobody believed him because he doesn't look like a wrestler. I think that's an important trait. You see Brock Lesnar, you say, man, that's a tough guy. Let me cross the street. You see Hulk Hogan back in the day, you're like, wow, he's a wrestler. Rock, Cena, Roman Reigns.
Roman looks like a star. Yeah.
Jonathan Gresham doesn't look like one to me. I mean, I swear to you, just like Taz, I think he's a very good talent. I think he has a very good look. But that height, it's hard for me to take him serious as a world champion.
I wanted to get in the chat real quick. I'm Leon the King TV. He said, "Do you think it's the same or it was same as it was, or did Hogan ruin it?" Talking about Impact. You want to take the floor first?
I mean, I personally don't think Hogan ruined it. I think he took it in a different direction. Some things work, some things didn't. Depends on. I mean, it always is like that with no matter who takes over a company. WCW was ran a certain way for a certain time. Then Eric Bischoff did his thing and took it to another level. I think Vince Russo took it over for a little while, and I thought he did a lot of stuff that people didn't like, but there was some stuff that I thought was a little bit entertaining. It's just how it is. Then Eric Bischoff came back and took over, and it left when I thought it was hitting another good stride. Some people for Vince, some people for Triple H. What I don't like about WWE fans is when something hits fire and everybody's talking about how good it is, oh, it's Triple H fault. When something's bad and everybody hates it, oh, Vince must be running things again. Make up your mind, man. You know, pick a struggle. I like it during the main event Mafia days, that year. I think, we talked about 2002 in WWE.
Yeah.
2000.
Matter of fact, I would love. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but as we do top fives, I like to do years. And as you was talking, I did want to say a lot of people talk about 2010 TNA was horrible. I don't think everything was great, but there were some gems there in TNA.
There was.
And I wonder.
Ace was not a bad group.
Yeah.
It went on too long, but it were not a bad group. And I like Bully Ray as a heel. Shout out to him.
He's great.
But I like him as a heel, as a single heel. I think he's fantastic. I like the fact that some people hated it, but you see where they are again now. I like the fact they got rid of 6 sides. I never liked the 6-sided ring. Ever liked the 6-sided ring.
Wow, dude. No, you was not a fan of. So when they took that out, you was like,
I said good. I'm glad they did that. I can take it more seriously now because they had the 4-sided ring, and then they brought it back, and everybody's happy. But look where they had again. They're back at 4-sided rings.
You know what I love?
What works.
You know what I loved about the 6-sided ring? Because what Impact tried to do, and I think you noticed as well, it was for them to stand out. But I get what you're saying, where for you, when you saw it, you might have said, oh, what is this? This is not your traditional ring and stuff like that.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I didn't hate it. I just wasn't a fan. Mm-hmm. It didn't stop me from watching the match.
Sure.
I wasn't a fan. I felt like it kind of took away from a lot of spots and a lot of stuff we were able to do. But it was fine. But Hogan did what he did, and he took a swing and he failed. That's what it was. He failed miserably, him and Eric. But
Brother, yeah.
TNA still around.
We got Leon the Kingston and Mortal was good, and Jeffrey was not a fan of the 6-sided ring. I like the 6-sided ring. Now the only thing is because I'm not a wrestler, so when I hear the wrestler say, "Yeah, we didn't like it because it was already tearing up our bodies," I can only go by, "Yeah, I hear you. I hear
You
what
know,
you're saying."
bouncing off the ropes is very important for wrestling, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to do it when the main part you bounce people off the ropes on is now turnbuckles. So now you got to adjust. I mean, yes, smart move,
Yeah.
smart thing, but I can see why people wrestlers weren't fans of it. But like it was a good look. Pros and cons
It was.
to everything.
Absolutely, and I think that was a fair point on how you worded that. Good job. We had the Coven going against Killer Kelly and Misha Slamovich for the TNA. Oh, I'm sorry, the Impact Women's, the Impact Knockout Women. I'm sorry, there's a lot of words.
The Knockout Tag Team Championship.
Yes, I'm sorry, I messed that totally up. But yeah,
Slamovich and Killer Kelly are probably.
I would be for that. Yes.
But I'm going to pick Kobe.
You gonna pick Kovic?
I'm going to pick Kobe.
Okay, you gonna pick Kovic? Okay.
The
Oh, the Coven. I thought you said COVID. I was gonna say that's terrible. We have Eddie Edwards. He's going to be out there with his wife, Alicia Edwards, going against Frankie Kazarian with Tracy Brooks. I see Frankie Kazarian getting the win. Eddie Edwards got the win.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so yeah, I see that. We got Jeffrey. He's in the chat joining us. Jeffrey, we want to say thank you for joining. Jeffrey's a fan of Impact. Like when I said on air,
every one of our shows too. So
Jeffrey, well, of course, he's a Jack Packer. So Jack Packers always stick together. Thank you. You're officially now the mayor of the Jack Pack community.
He was on Monday with us. He was on Wednesday with us.
No, yeah, he was there because he supports the other shows, but he's really there for Tuesday nights. I know that because he's there. I see him. But he is. Jeffrey is thank you for supporting here the Unpopular View brand. You're fantastic, sir. But we both agreed to Frankie Kazarian. And then we have a fatal four-way for the Impact World Tag Team Championship. We have ABC or the Bullet Club. I'm sorry, let me just say the Bullet Club because it's the Bullet Club. Like the Bullet Club, I sometimes look. The Bullet Club was so cool 10 years ago, right? And it's like 10 years later, they're here and they're multiplying. Stop! Just stop, please.
The funny thing is, they're not as popular as they were 10 years ago.
Oh no, they're not. Not at all. No, not at all. The bloom to me, if I can just sit here and say, shout out to the Bullet Club because look, they're making their money. All right, they're making their money. Good for them. To me, the Bullet Club stopped being popular after AJ Styles.
Yeah.
Oh, who do you got?
I can't. That's why I said arguable. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. We have ABC going against Brian Myers and Moose.
When they Adam Cole, please.
Huh?
When they Adam Cole, baby, leave.
He wasn't the leader though.
AJ wasn't the leader.
AJ was the leader.
AJ was not the leader.
Who was the leader of the Bullet Club after Finn left?
Let me see.
It was AJ Styles. Who was leading? Was it Kenny Omega? Was it the Bucks of Young? No, it was AJ Styles. Yeah. You got me all hyped up right now. I'm going to have to take a shower after this because now I'm just angry and sweating. But we have ABC going against AJ Brian Myers and Moose.
So it was after Kenny Omega left. That's when it became.
Yeah, well, when they kicked, you got to remember when the Bucks and Kenny took over, AJ Styles by then left. That was like the third. I would say like the third version of it, if that makes sense, because you had Finn, then you had AJ Styles, then Kenny led. Cody wasn't.
Well, it was Jay White, but now it's David Finlay.
Jay White was the last leader, and now it's who is this guy?
David Finlay.
Yeah. Son. Yes. Let me get to this. ABC against Brian Myers and Moose against Rich Swann and Sammy Calvin and Subculture. It's a fatal four-way for the Impact World Tag Team Championships. I see the champs retaining.
Yeah, I see ABC retaining too. The Rascals aren't in this?
No, they're not in this. Okay. They're not in this.
ABC's going to win because I think they're going to lose the titles to the Rascals.
Smart. We have a singles match. Excuse me, hiccups. Singles match for the X Division Championship, we have Chris Sabin defending the championships against Leo Rush. I feel like we both agreed to Chris Sabin being it because we just don't see Leo Rush being here for long. So I'm gonna go. I won't put words in you. Yes, I agree. We have Bully Ray and Dean. What did you guys think of the Suicide game in TNA after the video game? I hated the Impact game. I'm gonna be quite frank. That shit pissed me off. You know what made me mad about that game? Okay, let me go and then we'll finish this thing. What made me mad? I knew this game was. I love customization. So when I play a game, I immediately go to customization. I spend a lot of time in it and all that stuff. When I had to unlock a chop, I said, "This game can lick the pavement." Why am I unlocking a basic move? It wasn't a jackhammer. It wasn't a sharpshooter. It was a chop. I had to pay money for a chop? Nah, this game is not for me. My blood pressure is going through the roof, and the Impact game can, I use the Impact game for toilet tissue. The next thing we had was Bully Ray and Dina going against Scott D'Amore and a partner to be determined. I see Scott D'Amore and said partner. We don't know who the partner is. I see them getting the W.
See Bully Ray winning.
Huh?
See Bully Ray winning.
We also got, because I'm going to say this for the main event because it's going to be the main event, but we have Alex Shelley defending his Impact World Heavyweight Champion. Oh, I say World Heavyweight, but Impact World Championship against Nick Aldis. I say Alex Shelley retaining.
I see Alex Shelley retaining too, but they're smart. They'll get the belt to Nick Aldis. He has the look and presence of a champion.
He do. No, he do. He do. Nick Aldis is someone. Are you surprised that WWE never gave him a look?
I inquired about that. So, according to my sources, but anyway, according to them, Nick Aldis is a backstage problem at times. The WWE doesn't want anything to do with it.
Because he's somebody. It always surprised me because, and we'll get to the main event, but it always surprised me because Nick Aldis is just, he has it. He can talk. He has the look. There's a presence to him.
He bored me when you started talking to Alex Shelley. I will say that. It wasn't. I don't think it wasn't on tonight's episode. It was like a previous episode, probably 3 weeks ago. He was talking to Alex Shelley. It felt like forever, and it just bored the hell out of me. Kind of like there was a segment on one of the shows where somebody. Oh no, it was a show I was at. Where somebody it was a segment that went too long. But anyway, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. And I just want to mention to Jeffrey because I agree with you. You said Scott D'Amore and Vacant win. So I love that. So yeah, Scott D'Amore and Vacant. That's going to be the partner of Vacant. Vacant is like the greatest wrestler of all time. He's held like every championship you can even imagine. But yes, Alex Shelley retains. And we also have what is going to be the main event of Slammiversary. Shout out to these women. Deonna Purrazzo goes against Trinity as she defends her Impact Knockouts World Championship. I think you pull the trigger and put the title on Trinity.
Not yet. I think the money's in the chase for this one. You definitely need to have her win the championship, but not immediately. Maybe have some kind of shenanigans that lead to Deonna walking out, not necessarily winning the match, but walking out that championship, which leads to a rematch, which Naomi wins the title.
And that's really great. Matter of fact, I like the way that you worded all that. I was just talking to a friend recently, and I was talking to her like, oh, they missed the opportunity with Cody. I was like, yeah, Cody didn't have to win the championship right away, right? So I get what you're saying. I'm still going to go with Trinity. I'm going to keep that as my pick. But I also understand that at the same time where she don't have to win it in the first go. So I can respect that at the same time. But that's our predictions for Slammiversary. We're going to, once again here, folks, thank you for watching Unpopular Review, the Impact Review Show. We're going to try to be here more on Thursdays, right after Impact goes off the air. So if you're liking this, like it, subscribe, just follow Unpopular Review. There's so much content here on this channel. We have the wrestling going on. We have the Monday shows. There's 2 Monday shows. It's this guy and the coolest of the daddies. They're talking as Raw is on the air. You have Mike Knox with his paid security secretary doing his intro. I'm going to talk to Mike Knox about this. Mike Knox has officially pissed me off. But you can check them out on Mondays, Tuesdays. I'm on Tuesdays with the Wrestling Doll. Wednesdays you have AEW. I mean, this guy is just everywhere. I mean, he's just everywhere on Popular View. You're doing Dynamite with Z the Silent. Sometimes you have the Sheriff there. Thursdays, we have the top fives, 7:30, 8 p.m. We have we're gonna, like I said, Impact, but also on Thursdays we have this thing called Dark Side of the Rings. So if you guys want to see a review on Dark Side of the Rings, check that out. And then also there's stuff on entertainment. I know you guys did the Indiana Jones series, correct?
We did just finish wrapping up. About to go into Hunger Games.
It said Jeffrey said EC show Jack my comment about NXT. I saw it. I saw that you attacked Mistrust and Sawyer. Good job. I feel like something went on silent. Oh, you went on silent. So I did see the comment, Jeffrey. I'm sorry I didn't say anything, but I do acknowledge you, sir. But that's pretty much the Impact show. Once again, follow Unpopular Review. We thank you guys for joining us. I'm the bad guy, aka the Grand Poobah on Tuesdays. He's the executive consultant. Wrap it up and take us home. And
follow us on all our social media. As you say, the social media, we are on it, and we will see you right here at Unpopular Review. Good night, everybody.